Just a few words, and then the lesson will be yours. First, I'd like to say, Brother Jones, I sure did like that song that you led there, that old one. Um, it carries a special meaning to me, and well, that's because my uncle has a brother-in-law, and his daughter goes to a beauty parlor, and I think it's that one down there, 15th and Magnolia there, across from the Tasty Freeze. There's always a big, kind of a fat woman in a chair there at the corner, sitting there. And anyway, so this lady in the beauty parlor, she knows my mother and my family, and she says, and this might, it's not verified. It's not verified, but she thinks that we're actually related to Stamp Baxter, but it's not verified. But so that song and a lot of the old songs, I kind of cherish them. Probably a little more than most of you. Well, I didn't know really what to talk about, so at first I thought, well, I'll talk a little bit about communism and how it's wrong and everything, and because I went to college a little bit and learned some things and had some history, but then I thought, well, no, because I might use some words that would be a little bit unusual to the common layman. And so I thought, well, maybe, preachers preach on evolution. So I thought, well, I'll preach a sermon on evolution, and then I thought, wait a minute. See, I've been, like I said, I've been to college and got my AA degree, and I know it was in finance, but I did learn about evolution, and because I had to take a class in earth science, and I just knew that if I did that, I could probably say some things just above some people's heads, and we probably wouldn't be on the same level, and none of us understand each other. So I didn't really know what to talk about, so I decided on a sermon, and the life of Paul is what I'm going to talk about. The life of Paul. And so I'm going to kind of get right into it. And so Paul, he did some things, and a lot of things, and so I kind of, the way I do it, is I put his things that he did, I kind of put them in three categories, group them in three categories. Paul did some bad things, Paul did some good things, and then Paul did some things. And the things are just things, like everyday things that, real practical, and that don't matter, not good or bad, just like sometimes we listen to our record player, so I'll talk about that when I get to it. But so let's begin our lesson, and maybe we can glean from the scriptures things that would be beneficial to us in our everyday lives. So let's start right in with the bad. Paul did some bad things, and nothing to be ashamed of. But what did Paul do that was bad? Well, first Paul had an argument, and he argued. See, there's this guy he didn't really like, Mark. Mark was the guy that went with him on his trips, his preaching trips, and he's kind of a mama's boy, I think. That's what I think Paul thought about him. And so then one time they were talking about what kind of a guy he was, mama's boy, if you will. And then they got in an argument, and then Barabbas got into it, and they all three argued and everything. And I don't know if they fought or what, but they got an argument. I got there's this guy that I work with. He was talking about that one day, and he, you know what he said? He thinks that they fought and boxed each other a little, mad. And I told him that I didn't think so, but he's that kind of guy. You know what he said that Zorro, remember the TV series Zorro? That he thinks that's Cuba doing that series, and it's propaganda, and they're trying to overthrow the United States. He thought that Infidel Castro, I call him Infidel, that Castro was using Zorro as propaganda to try to overthrow. But you know what I said? I said, speak where the Bible speaks, be silent where the Bible's silent. And the Bible doesn't say anything about Zorro and overthrowing the USA. And but it might have. I think it was probably the Mexicans. But well, anyway. So Paul had an argument, and then that was bad. Number one, he had an argument. So number two, what did Paul do that was bad? Well, Paul he got stoned. And I know some of you people, well, I just learned it from TV. I don't hang around that crowd, but motorcycle gangs. But I know that stone means intoxicated. Stone means intoxicated. So he got stoned thrice. But the way I look at it, see, is that's not bad for your whole time that you're alive here on earth 3 times. And it probably, and I don't think it was a marijuana trip. I don't think it was that. I think it was probably alcohol. Because if you look real close in the Bible, not just one verse, but look at all the verses in the Bible, then eventually you'll see this verse. And you know what? Paul offered Timothy some alcohol. And I don't know if Timothy took it or not, but Paul did offer him some alcohol. Said it was for his tummy. But, so, some of you, I see some of you nodding your heads and some of you shaking your heads, and that goes back to the milk and the meat, Those that are nodding your heads and agreeing with me are probably on the meat of the word, and then those that are shaking your head and disagreeing, you're probably not yet on the meat. You're probably on the milk of the word, and not understanding this. That kind of goes back to why I'm up here, and you're down there gleaning from me. But so Paul did some bad things. He argued, and then he got drunk, maybe. We're not sure. But, okay, so that takes care of that category. So, Paul did some good things. We can't just mar his reputation. He did some good things. And what did he do that was good? Well, he didn't like denominations. You say, preacher, where do you get that? I'll tell you where I get that is in 1 Corinthians 1. 1 Corinthians 1, and so there are some people there, and he said their people were saying, I'm of Cleo or Cletus or somebody, and I'm of Apollos, and I'm of Paul, and so they're getting in little groups, and Paul said that was bad. And that was good that he said that was bad. Number one, he didn't like denominations. And you look around you and take a good gander at the world we live in. I'm ashamed call myself a human being sometimes. We have a lot of denominations. Just Latter-day Saints, and Seventh-day Adventists, and Free Will Baptists, and of course the old standbys, the Catholics and the Jews, and if as of late, if you watch TV, you can even see that there's even a new one, what they call a Jews militia, kind of, I guess, a branch of the Jews. There at Beirut, where the terrorists are. But so there's a lot of denominations, and Paul says, I don't like them. And he said, furthermore, that was he crucified for you? And of course, that's what we in college circles call a rhetorical question. The answer is no. So you might just say no. So was he crucified for you? No. Was it? And we might say, was any Latter-day Saint crucified for you? No. Was Roger Miller crucified for you? No. Well, Roger Miller, not the singer, but the guy that started the Baptist church. Was he crucified for you? No. Huh? I can't hear you. Oh, William? Was that his name? William Miller? No, you're shaking your head. No, I don't think that's right. I think William Miller might be a singer. I don't know. I think it was Roger Miller, what I said the first time. But anyway, was he crucified for you? No. So number one is Paul didn't like denominations. And that's good. So what else, was good about Paul? Well, we can read in the Bible that Paul got baptized, and that's good. And I have here, let's just open the Word to, I have 1 Chronicles 1, 15 and 16. Let's see, is that right? That doesn't sound right. It might be. Okay, 1 Chronicles, let's see. First Kings, 2 Kings. Let's see. Okay, got the right book. I mean, 1 Chronicles. 1 Chronicles 1:16. That's what I have. It's just, and the Arvadite and the Zemarite and the Hamathite. Let's see. When I was turning over there, I didn't think that was right because, Paul's in the New Testament, and in 1 Chronicles, he's in the Old Testament. But lucky for me that I do have some training, in recall. In college, we studied things like that when I was getting my degree, AA degree. But and I think I can quote the scriptures. So Paul got baptized, and I think he says something to the neighborhood of, for I'm thankful to God that I was baptized in none other than the house of Stephanie. That's it. For I'm thankful to God that I was baptized in none other than the house of Stephanie. And so we see from the scriptures, gleaning from the scriptures, that Paul was baptized in. So that's good. And so, number one, what? Didn't like denominations. Number two, what? Got baptized. So that takes care of that category. And then the other category that just, is every day he did some things. Well, Like what? Well, number one, buffeted his body. 1 Corinthians 9. And he said he buffeted his body. And of course, the scholars and people and my colleagues and all, and in the religious circles of discussion, maybe some in the halls of ivory, are trying to discuss this and find out what it means. I buffet my body, and of course we got out all the Bible study aids, and I'm at name them off. It'd be good to look up the exact word buffet, and you can find that in a Strong Analytical Concordance every time you find. If you don't have that big one, then just get the Crude Concordance. It's kind of small. It's just kind of crude. And then when you find it, then you might want to look into the Vine's Explosive Dictionary, and it'll tell you in detail what it is, the buffet. And of course, you may use the Nave's Tropical Bible, and in that case, you just look under buffet. And some of you, like me, that have been to college and are, well, somewhat educated, and have AA degrees or higher, might go ahead and get where it has the Greek and the English there together. It's kind of a book, the Greek Interliner, and then you look right under buffet, and it has the Greek word, and you take that Greek word and you go look it up in the Lexington book. But so we, all the scholars and of course me, have studied this. I buffet my body, and I'm right now. We all differ a little, and I'm toying with this idea, and I'll just toss it out for you, and you do what you will with it, and get back to me. Especially those of you that are nodding your head on the meat of the word, and. But you know what I think it means? I think it means this. Now follow me. You're going to have to follow me. Those times were bad, okay? I mean, they were barbaric. See, it's not like today where we're civilized. This might be, we might say, is the age of the handheld calculator. But it was barbaric then, and those people were some rough hombres, if you will. Hombres means men. But and some, I bet, were cannibals that eat people. And so, buffet. Think about it, cannibal. You know what I think? I think that Paul was buffeting his body for food. He was, because they're cannibals and all, and they're barbaric, and he probably knew that they might eat him anyway. Besides, he said, "I become all things to all men," and cannibals are men. And so, of course, I just throw that out with you. Some of my colleagues and we all are trying to learn this, and when we do get settled on something that makes good sense, maybe the cannibals, or what I call the cannibal theory, then we'll report back, as it were, and see if we can help out a little on this. So Paul buffeted his body, and then so number one, what did I say? Number one? Yeah, I mean, I know I did when I was talking about the good things that he did and the bad things, but I mean, just now did I say number one, buffet his body? Okay, so number one, he buffeted his body, and that was good. Number two, what did he do every day? Well, I'll tell you something he did, and we might think of doing it. Paul changed his name. Sure did. And his name, see, it used to be Saul. And when he got baptized, he says, I'm going to be called Paul. And Paul, Saul, it kind of sounds the same, and I like it. And besides, I won't have to be named after a bad king. How many people do you know named Saul, huh? Let me see your hands. Not many. Not any. And I don't know anybody personally named Saul. And so he changed his name. And I think, besides, as a little child playing in the streets, somebody might say, there goes Saul, the king, make fun a little bit, and then it might embarrass him. But so he changed it, but not all people change their names in the Bible. But Cornelius didn't change his name. He got baptized, and then for some reason he liked his name, Cornelius, and kept it. But I know that, well, if I was named Cornelius and then I got baptized, that might be just the break I was looking for to change my name. Because it sounds like, well, are there any Cornelius in the audience? Well, because, well, okay, good, not any. And because I think it sounds kind of like a black person's name. And I didn't see either. There's, nothing wrong with being black, like you are. I was just saying that sounds kind of like one of your kind of people's names. Anyway, let's go on to. I tell you, some people that I think that ought to change their names is I'm gonna get the jump on you this time. Are there any Mexicans in the audience? Good. I think that some Mexicans ought to change their name because their name is, some of them has the name Jesus. Because I saw a baseball player and I looked at it and his name was Jesus. And of course they try to be sneaky and get around that, and they kind of Jesus. But I don't know who they think they're fooling, because you could see it written right there on the television, Jesus, and they try to make you think it's a H, the J. It's a H, there's a J, but it's a J, and I don't think a lot of them go to college like we do in here. So what did Paul do? Well, number one, he buffeted his body, and then number two, he changed his name. Just everyday occurrences. And so number three, what did he do? Everyday thing that was, not good or bad. He exercised, and he ran a race for celery.